My name is Hannah Souza, and I am interviewing Mrs. H. What is your favorite book?
My favorite book as I was a child was Shirley Temple, and it was Heidi.
Okay. What was your school like?
Well, it's a long story about my school because I had to walk to school for about 2 miles.
Oh my gosh.
And my school was a 3-story school, and I was in the basement of the school. And they had 8 grades all in this one building, and the building was made out of brick. And we had tall steps we had to walk to get there. And my kindergarten teacher, at that time, it was like a preschool. We had to learn how to talk, we had to learn how to print, and we did not know how to even color when we started kindergarten, because they didn't teach that at home, and they didn't have a preschool. So you went to school for kindergarten to learn those things.
Okay. Did it have different activities?
The only activities we had was at recess, and we would jump rope, and we would play baseball, and just walk around because we had like 15 minutes, and we didn't have anybody to watch us, and we just had fun running around.
What is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport as an adult was water skiing. I loved water skiing. But as a child, I rode my bike back and forth to school later on. I was not very athletic.
What was your food like there?
Well, my mother packed my lunch, and it was in a regular lunch pail, and she packed me a nice sandwich. It was made out of ham, and then she always made sure that I had some kind of fruit, and always had a homemade piece of cake or a cookie, and then we carried our own milk. So I had milk in my thermos bottle.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite
Food.
My favorite food?
Yeah.
Scalloped potatoes and ham.
Wow.
Made from scratch, not out of a box.
What did you want to grow up to be?
When I was a child growing up, I always wanted to be a Navy nurse. But then that did not develop. So then later on in life, I would have loved to have been a hostess for a big hotel.
What were your favorite TV shows?
I Love Lucy. And right now it's MASH.
Can you describe I Love Lucy?
I Love Lucy was a very comedy show. It made you laugh, and she did things that that I could relate to. That sometimes I do funny things in my house too. She was always planning parties, and the parties didn't turn out right. She always wanted to be on her husband's TV show, and she always made a mess of the TV show. And she dressed up funny. I guess that's why I liked I Love Lucy.
Describe a funny thing that you did at your house.
I just have to think a minute because every day of my life is kind of funny. You go outdoors and you get something out of the shed, and when you get out there you forgot what you came for, so then you go back, and by that time the telephone is answered, so you talk to the person on the telephone, and then you go back and you realize, well, what was I going to do? And by that time you forgot whatever you were going to do, and you start another job, and then you make a mess. You spill something on the floor, and then you have to clean it up, and then you have to wring the rag out. I mean, life just goes on and on and on. That's one of my funny things.
Is there any TV shows that play now that were played when you were a kid?
Yeah, when I was a kid, we didn't have TV.
Oh.
All we had was radio. So after we had our meal, we always ate together in the kitchen, and after the dishes were all done, and after the floor was all done, and after the work was all done, then we went in the living room and we sat and we listened to like One Man's Family or the Lone Ranger. We listened to things that's after Father got through with the news on the radio. But we sat around in the living room and we listened to the radio.
Were there any wars going on when you were growing up?
Not while I was growing up, because I grew up between World War I and World War II. My father fought in World War I. He was over to England a lot and Germany. I had brothers that went into World War I, and then I also had, World War II, excuse me. And then in World War II, I had a husband that was in the Navy Seabees. I remembered people telling me about things that happened during the war, because you could not, you were given a ration book. You were given a book with all coupons. You're only allowed so much butter and so much eggs and so much meat and so much gas, and that kept you pretty close to home. And the grocery stores, there was only like a corner grocery store, and you never went a long ways for a grocery store. So did I grow up during the war? No, but I remember of the war and the handicaps that people have. Now, when we lived in Michigan, that's where I'm from, we didn't have the scare of the airplanes flying over like you people here in California, in LA area. LA, you had to pull all the shades down and you had to turn all the lights out and so on. Now, we didn't have that where I lived, so we didn't have that great fear.
Where do you live now?
Where do I live now? I live in Carpinteria, Rancho Santa, well, I don't even know where I live. Rancho Granada. That's right across from the City Hall. It's a very lovely park. I have lived there since 1972. It's the best park around.
I don't know what to say.
And the neighbors are all very nice.
What is your favorite song?
What is my favorite song? Well, first of all, the favorite songs are about Jesus. That's one of the favorite songs. That's priority. And my other ones will have something to do with being patriotic, like America and the Star-Spangled Banner and My Country 'Tis of Thee. And all those songs always make me kind of happy, but yet sad, because they're such beautiful songs.
What did you like about your childhood?
What did I like about my childhood? My childhood was a very happy childhood, very carefree. I was loved and I was cared for. My childhood was, my mother made my dresses, every dress that I ever had, and she made them the way I liked them. I was a happy child, no matter what I did, and I had my dolls and my paper dolls, and I had a close girlfriend which was a mile away from me, but we had a lot of fun.
Thank you for answering my questions. My name is Hannah Souza.